are gods, we are kings. We march in faith cause we believe we can change the world to what it needs. Stand against our enemies cause we can. Yeah, can't nothing ever stop us. Take one and another will rise up. We'll endure until we reach the end. We are gods, we are kings, demanding change cause we believe we can.
Got God's in the building. We do not care about your feelings. We do not care about your feelings. Got God's in the building. We got the God's in the building. We got the God's in the building. Got God's in the building. We do not care about your feelings. We do not care about your feelings. Don't care about you.
With scriptures we shake and bake. March around Babylon, make it quake. Our people, they see us, we make them say. The gods I come back to come say that they make them pay. That's what the Bible say. G is for greatest, O is for overkill. D is for dominate. F for superior, yeah, but we winning still. You heathens, you making me mad. So I'ma go out and prophesy. Esau wanna be us so bad. Your DNA full of lies. Stealers, the branders, the sellers, the killers. You teaching your offspring not to be with us. Today is new day. I can read. My God and my Bible resembling me.
We got the gods in the building. We got the gods in the building.
Hey, you know how the Haitians and the Dominicans, they're on one island, right? But they divided by what? Language? Right? One side speaks French, Creole, the other side speaks Spanish. Only thing that happened between you two, because remember, you guys are brothers, the Bible says. It says Simeon and Levi are brethren, you guys are brothers. Read verse 1. Read verse 1.
Genesis 49, verse 1. And Jacob called unto his sons.
So Jacob is your forefather, your grandfather in the Bible. You have Abraham, you have Isaac, and you have Jacob. From Jacob comes the 12 tribes of Israel. That's God's chosen people. Okay?
And say, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together, and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father.
So he called all his 12 sons. He says, come and listen. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to you and your generations in the last days, meaning today. Okay? So now the Bible's going to paint a map to where all these people are going to be in the last days. How do we know who's Judah? How do we know who's Ephraim? How do we know who's Simeon? Right? Now go to verse 5.
Verse 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren.
He says Simeon and Levi are brothers. But he, in the verse 1 of the same chapter, he said he called all his sons. But why would he say that these two are brothers? Because of what? In the last days, they're going to be on the same island. But what? You guys are going to be divided. Read on.
Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation.
But what did they practice? Like the brother was saying, voodoo and santeria, brujeria. These are instruments of cruelty. Why? Because normally when you practice witchcraft, what do? They put a curse on somebody, right? They want to do to curse somebody and try to better their life. But we're not supposed to do that according to God. That's against His commandments. That's against the laws of God. Right. And today, what do our people do? They got the Chango, right? They were like, they put alcohol to Chango and all these other saints and all that, Santo this, Santo that, all this garbage. And then they an image, and the idolatry behind it is that they give you this image to say that this guy is the head of all those saints. And they say that's Christ. Right? But he says instruments of cruelty are in your habitation, in your lands. Right? Come on.
O my soul, come not thou into their secret.
So Jacob tells his other sons, don't go and start doing their idolatry. Don't start worshiping devils and so on and so forth. Don't practice witchcraft. Come on.
Unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man.
So historically in the Bible, you guys killed someone that raped your sister. You know, in the islands, we don't play around with that stuff. If you rape somebody's sister, you mess around with a child, you get put to death over it. Right? Come on.
And in their self-will, they dig down the wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel.
So he says, I'm going to divide these two. I'm going to divide them in the island of Hispaniola. So that now, as a people, when you were in Santo Domingo, right, you have Dominicans just as black as this brother right here. Just as black as that brother. Dominicans just as black as that. But when you say the Haitians are your brothers, they said no.
Right. Bring it out.
Our sisters, our Dominican sisters, think about how far this goes. Our Dominican sisters, they have hair just like God. But what do? They press it, they perm it, they burn it down, make it straight. All their whole life, that's their culture. They want to make it straight to what? To look like the Spaniard, to look like the white woman. They don't embrace, they don't have that self-love. But God says we will be divided as a people until the last days. But you're the same people, you're brothers. So when you see a Haitian, a so-called Haitian, because that's not their real name, their real name is Levi.
Right.
Their forefather, some of their ancestors are Moses and Aaron and the priests of God. You understand that? You guys are God's chosen. That's what the Bible's trying to show you. How do we know that? Because the scriptures are prophetic and they're going to tell us exactly who we are. But first and foremost, I said something important. I said that this guy is the head of all those demonic saints that the people in Santo Domingo and Port-au-Prince worship. That white guy right there, who is that? That's Jesus, right? I'm asking.
That's the image.
That's the image of Christ, right? That's what they say. That's what you have in your churches. Remember what the brother said earlier. Emmanuel, get your Bartholomew de la Casa's book that you wanted to bring out. I want to pass it back to you. Remember what the brother said earlier. The conquistadors came with what? Crosses, the Jesuit priests, and they had your ancestors, what? At the bonfire. Okay, these are your ancestors, and these all come from this book right here, Bartholomew de la Casas. He was a Spaniard that wrote about your history. So this is a history book about the Dominicans and what happened to you. Yeah, show them the pictures. I want to show you guys these pictures, and I'm going to read out the Bible something, all right, that happened. I'm going to show you how the Bible prophecy is your history. Okay, so this is a pit of spikes, and they would put your grandmothers, your mothers, your children, all in this pit and fill it up to the top. So it would be nothing but death. Then give me another picture, right? So that's what you have here on this sign. It's that same picture out the book, right? Now you have this image here where they're burning us alive by 12. There's 12 people here to represent the 12 apostles. Okay? And you see that? They're feeding our children to dogs. And they're taking the baby here and dashing it against the rock. And this is what you see here. You see this man, he got a baby by his feet. And he's going to smash it against the stone. That's the Spaniard. That's the Spanish. That's the European. The white man. You understand that? That's the man that conquered Dominican Republic first. Hispaniola first. That's the man that did that to your ancestors. I'm going to show you how that's biblical. How God said this will happen to our people according to his prophecy, because we broke his commandments, because we went into idolatry, we went into witchcraft, and we started worshiping this white guy that we so-called call Christ today, that the church has pushed. And this is what happened. If we didn't worship that image, we were put to death. We were burned alive. The dogs would feed on us. You understand that? They would chop our bodies up. If the kids didn't bring in enough gold, guess what happened to their hands? You get chopped off. Give me Deuteronomy 28. And I'm going to show you why this happened though. And I'm going to give you a solution to it too. All right, come on.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So maldiciones, curses are going to come upon our people because if we do not listen to God and keep his commandments. That's what Moses is telling the sons of Jacob, the 12 tribes. Okay? This is including your father, Simeon, and his children, right? Now, this is us just leaving Egypt. We're in the wilderness. I don't know if you know some Bible history. Okay? Moses just delivered the children of Israel out of Egypt, and now he's giving them laws, statutes, and commandments. And he says, now, here's the condition. If you keep God's commandments, you're going to be blessed above all nations on the earth. But if you break his commandments, you're going to be put on the bottom. Right. Listen, give me verse 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand.
He said, our children will be given or go into captivity by another man. So these people came and they put our children into captivity. They killed our children. We had no power in our hands. You know how many people they killed on Española and within the first week? Over 1 million. A genocide. Christopher Columbus is now celebrated in America as the discoverer of the Americas. They honor a genocidal maniac that killed your ancestors.
Right.
And they give us a day off and say, yes, enjoy the day off. Christopher Columbus. You understand that? But our people ignorantly say, okay, this is fine with me, but that's not okay with God. God said this will happen to our ancestors. Didn't it just happen to the Hispanics? It also happened to the so-called black man.
Right.
And his children.
That's right.
The so-called Native American. It happened to them as well. Read on.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
So now he's going into about colonialism, when you got colonized by the Spaniards, right? Come on.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
So he said we'll be oppressed and crushed always. And we're gonna be on the bottom of society no matter what. How much, think about it, on the island of the Dominican Republic, think about this. You guys have some of the most beautiful beaches on the face of the earth. Some of the best beaches I've ever seen. Crystal clear waters, right? You guys got all manners of fruits. But why are you still so poor? Why you gotta come to America and try to find a better way when you know when you get here it's still even harder? Why is it that you guys can't even go to your own beaches? Now the hotels buy them. You got the Chinese buying the hotels, the French buying the hotels, the British buying up the hotels, and you got all these white people in your beaches. And you can't even go there.
Bring it out!
You gotta go serve them. You gotta serve them margaritas.
Right.
And pina coladas.
Right.
And watch the white woman try to turn tan when she just turned red. You understand that?
Right.
That's what happens. But why? Why does this stuff happen? Because we broke God's commandments. Give me another commandment.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed.
So God says these curses are going to come upon us as a people. You see all these people? We were divided and conquered. That's why they call the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans and whatnot. And we think that we're different. We're the same people. We just represent a different flag today.
Right.
But we're the same exact people. We eat the same exact foods. We like the same music. Right? We the same people. We go through the same struggles. We live together.
Right.
No matter where the black man is, the Hispanic man is there too.
Bring it out.
You know what I mean? We the same exact people. He said these curses are going to come upon us, overtake us, and do what?
Till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Remember the reason, because we didn't listen to God. Come on.
To keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee.
Those curses are going to be upon us.
For a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
They're going to be upon us and our children for a sign, to show you that you in these last days who you are, that you're not Dominicans. Think about it. The word Dominican is just a disrespectful term. But we rep that to, you know what I mean? We rep it hard. We swear we Dominican, we got the flag, woo, we got pride in us. You know what I'm saying? Give me verse 37.
Verse 37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations.
So God says one of the curses that will become an astonishment, a wonder in the world, a wise saying, a proverb. You know what the Europeans say when they come to your island? Where the women at? Where the women? Because we want to have sex with those young Dominican girls and they become prostitutes. Our daughters become prostitutes. And the thing is, a lot of them think that's the way out. They get pregnant by a British guy, they think they're going to get a check.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is destruction of a people. And this is us. That's why our sisters, they perm their hair, right? They wrap it up, doobies and pins. You know what I'm saying? And they want to be just like the white woman so that they can attract the white men and find their way out of here. You know what I'm saying? This is Bible prophecy. This is Bible, your history in the Bible. Read on.
Verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So because we broke God's commandments, he says, now you don't want to serve me, you got to serve your enemies. You got to serve the British, the Spanish, the Dutch, the French, all the Europeans that come to your island, you got to serve them now. For what?
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
And God sent it against us. Remember, God is the God, he does love us. But as a father, to correct your child, you got to do what? You got to beat them sometimes, right? But they get the proper way. So he says, now I'm going to send your enemy against you because you didn't want to serve me. Come on.
In hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in wants of all things.
It says for the food, the clothes, and the water that you drink, and everything else that you want. You want an education, you want a job, you want a bank loan, you want a car. No matter what, you want a visa, you got to serve your enemy for that thing. That's what God is saying. Come on.
And he,
your enemy,
shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
God says he's going to put yokes of iron. Give me the yokes. Where is it? Right here? Give me the sign right here. I'm going to show you what happened. God put yokes of iron on our necks. Okay? He put yokes of iron upon our necks. Yokes of iron upon our necks until we were destroyed. Okay? Meaning, when the yokes came off, you started calling yourself Dominican.
Right.
Instead of Simeon, instead of the Israelites, the Result of Israel, you called yourself Dominican today. You understand that? That's your history in the Bible.
That's right.
But the church never taught you that.
Right.
The church flipped this. The church said, God loves everybody. And they're all one in God. That's a goddamn lie. Because we're all one. Think about it. Why come the Guatemalans and the Mexicans can't come into the country and they're in concentration camps today?
Right.
If we're all one.
Bring it out.
Teach.
Think about it, brothers. I just for you, food for thought. You understand that? You got something, officer? You got something? All right. So listen, this is what we're trying to show you, that your history is in the Bible. That you're God's chosen. We are God's chosen people. It's just that in these last days, as Jacob called his sons together, we're trying to gather our nation back together.
Right.
Because we are the greatest. We're the best.
That's right.
You understand that? But we got to come back to being the best. And this man here, I'm going to tell you what. This image here that we all adore, that's in Abuelita's house. This guy here, this guy's the damn devil the Bible speaks of. It's called the image of the beast. The image of the beast. That's not Christ. Christ is as dark as these brothers up here.
Teach.
Can I show you that? All right, come on.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass.
So we're revealing Christ. The key term of revelation is to reveal, to describe what he looks like, right? Come on.
Verse 14. Verse 2. Who bear record of the word of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ.
So John, this is John, the apostle John. He's in exile. He's in prison on the island of Patmos. He's now going to bear record of how Christ looks like. Read on. So to bear record and to give testimony means you have to what? See it. Give me verse 10.
Verse 10. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in a book
And this is Christ speaking to him. He heard a great voice behind him, so he turned around to see who was talking to him. And he says, what you going to see, John? Write it in the book. Why? Give me Matthew 24:24. Hold on. Why did he tell John, you got to write this down, John? I'm going to show you why.
Matthew 24, verse 24. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
You know who's the elect? You are.
That's right.
You are the elect of God.
Right.
God didn't come for everybody. Christ didn't die for everybody.
That's right.
He said in these last days there will arise false Christs and false prophets. The Catholic Church.
Right.
The evangelical church, the Jehovah's Witnesses of the world.
Right.
Why? Because they're never going to teach you that Christ is this image here is a false Christ. It's a false, it's to deceive you.
Right.
Go back. That's why John says, that's why Christ told John, write it in the book. You understand that? What book? The Bible.
Right.
So this is going to be his record, right?
Verse 14. Verse 12. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me.
So now John is turning around and see who said, I'm the Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what you see right in the book. Who said that to me? So he's turning around.
And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks.
So he saw a menorah, what we call today a menorah. 7 golden candlesticks, right?
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man.
That Son of Man is the same Alpha and Omega, who is Christ. Come on.
Clothed with a garment down to the foot.
And he was clothed with a garment down to his feet. Okay, he had a garment down to his foot. Come on.
And girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
And he had a golden belt around his waist. Okay, come on.
His head and his hairs.
Now he's getting, now remember, John is describing him, so now he's giving you a head to toe description. He gave you his clothes. Now he's going to show you what he looks like in his face. He said what?
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
He said the hair on his head and his beard were white, just like wool, in the texture of wool. What people you know have textured, woolly textured hair? You don't know? What do you think?
Parents.
Who? Your parents? What kind of hair is it? They call it today pelo malo. Right? Look, woolly hair. Like a sheep, a oveja. You understand that? He said his head and his hairs were white like wool.
As white as snow.
They were fully white. But this image has brown hair, blonde hair. You hear what I'm saying? This doesn't match up with what John is saying for Christ. Come on.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Now Christ's eyes were red. That's what it means. Why? Because he drank wine in moderation. He wasn't a drunkard, but he drank wine. Remember his first miracle? Turning water to wine.
Right.
Christ drank wine. They called him a wine bibber. Right? Come on.
And his feet.
Now John says, I looked at his feet, I looked at his clothes. I'm sorry, his head, his clothes, and I'm looking at his feet. Right? Come on.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
What color is brass? Or bronze? What color is it? Black? What do you say? Brown. It's a brown. Like if you go to the beach, you say, me voy a ir a la playa para broncear. Yeah, right? But to put color on me, right? So it says now, his feet were like unto fine brass, so they're brown. Okay, so now, remember, we try to see if it matches up with this image that the churches gave us.
As if they burned in a furnace.
As if what?
As if they burned in a furnace.
He said his feet were so dark, it looked like they burned in a furnace. Now we're talking about flesh, someone's skin. Don't look at the top of your feet, it's the same color as your hands, the same color as your face.
Right.
He said his feet were like brass, as if it burned in a furnace. If you burn anything in a furnace, it's going to turn black. Let's say you burn a steak. You burn it, it's going to turn black. You burn anything, it's going to turn black. Let's say Christ was very dark. He would be called a black man today. But we see on TV, we look at the novellas, right? We look at the TV shows. All we see is the most light-skinned Hispanics that we see on TV because we want to look like this. We want to look like this. We see this as God, and we say that's the image of beauty. But Christ, according to the Bible, will be considered a black man today. So what is this? A false image. A false image. Who gave us that image? The same church that destroyed your people that came with Columbus.
Good. Thank you, guys.
You guys understand that? You got the flyers?
Yeah, I got the flyers.
Listen, we got free online classes. I need you guys to study and comment. You guys both speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Listen, we have a school in DR. Yes, we have a school in DR. We have a school around the world. We need brothers to come on this side and teach the people the truth.
Right.
You understand that? That's how we're going to set free, and that's how Christ is going to come back.
Teach,
all right? Shalom, brothers.
Now they will see the true men of God. We are not black men, we are the Israelites. That's right. Take care of us. Take care of us. And our children too. And our children too. We have repented. We have repented. How are you? How are you? People want to know who's the king.
Oh, nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father. Oh, nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father.
Now why they trying to make it so hard to serve God? And why when I say that I'm a Jew it sound odd? For years I've been walking around saying that I'm a black man. I ain't saying that no more, it sounds wrong, man.
This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcast, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.